Welcome back to Close Up. Voters are in the get-to-know-you phase with candidates in both congressional districts in New Hampshire now. In CD1, Republicans are looking for a winner. Chris Bright, a businessman and Army veteran, believes he could be that candidate, and he's joining us in studio this morning. Thanks for being here, Chris.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So you wrote something recently saying that Congress needs more skeptics. Explain what you mean and why that's important to you.
Yeah, that article I wrote was on this Army story about a white circle and kind of questioning why we do things the way we do. And, you know, it's a story told over and over just about, you know, almost the definition of insanity or, and so what I tried to convey there was a lot of the policies that we have in place or the way that we go about conducting the business of government is ineffective. And I think regardless of your political beliefs, whether you're a Republican or Democrat, I don't think anybody can look at what's going on in Washington, D.C. and be like, that's an efficient system. And so everything from the way we budget, the way we debate topics, even the way we have political discourse in the country, I think needs to be re-examined to get us kind of unstuck from where we're at. So that was really the premise of this, to kind of tee up the way that I think about approaching problems and kind of bringing solutions to Washington.
You know, getting unstuck, you talk about that. You know, one issue that's very stuck right now seems to be immigration, and it's at the top of the list for a lot of Republican voters. If you're in Congress, would you be willing to support a deal that includes a path to citizenship for undocumented immigrants?
Yeah, you know, immigration in of itself is not a bad thing. In fact, throughout the history of this country, we've been bringing on about 1 million immigrants every year at about a 1% growth rate. Immigration for us, and why everybody should at least pay more attention to it, not from the the security aspects of it, but from an economic policy, is twofold. A good immigration policy that brings people into this country the right way. Obviously, there's national security threats when we have undocumented and folks from the terror watch list coming across the border unchecked. But if you take good, honest people that have, viable skill sets that we could plug into our economy, that's a win for everybody. And a strong immigration policy that vets and kind of triages folks that want to come in, that's a hedge against an aging society. And with our baby boomer demographic getting older, these are the types of people that you plug into an economy. And I read some stat actually that by 2037, if we continue at the same levels of immigration that we have, our population will actually start to decline. And that's dangerous because then you don't have people paying into the healthcare systems, which is funding Medicare and Medicaid. So immigration shouldn't be a dirty word, but the way that we're bringing people into this country is incredibly dysfunctional, and it's broken across all different levels. It's policy, it's a lack of technology, it's an underfunded system, and our illegal immigration laws are very complicated and tough to navigate.
So yes, on a path to citizenship for you?
So it's more complicated than I know you're looking for a silver bullet.
Well, just a yes or no.
So we have a program called EB-5, and I like that because what it does is it says if you're qualified and you can contribute to our economy, we will expedite green cards. I'm in favor of that, but we can't allow the floodgates to open where everybody's coming over right now, and the immediate crisis is to plug that because we've got a backlog. We can't even process enough people coming into the country. So there's this backlog of people that are already here, and we have to stop letting more people in until we can get our arms around this situation, make sure that we're doing it the right way.
The last time we had you on in December, you said you were not a 100% supporter of Donald Trump. He's now the nominee for president, or at least headed that way in this Republican Party. And if you have to share a ticket with him, have you changed your mind a little bit now? Are you on board and a MAGA candidate for Congress?
Well, I've always said that, all of the policies that Donald Trump, enacted in his first 4 years, I was very supportive of. I mean, the economy was humming. Title 42 with the immigration policy was effective, and we didn't have this, calamity that we have right now. So I've always been an incredible supporter of Donald Trump, or his policies. Where I think he could have done better and kind of gone from good to great was he's got such a strong base, and he could really be a good mouthpiece to kind of unite the Republican Party. I mean, here in the Granite State, 40% of the voters voted for Nikki Haley. Right, so it was kind of a fractured party, and he had the opportunity coming out of that to really unite us and say, hey, let's make the Republican Party the party that can, kind of change the tide here and pivot back. And I mean, honestly, anybody's better than Joe Biden in my book. But yeah, I'm excited about the Trump presidency and kind of getting some of these policies back in place and getting inflation under control, getting the border secure, and I'm behind the guy. Yeah.
Another big issue in the 1st Congressional District is climate change, obviously with the seacoast there. Biden administration sending millions of dollars now to repair some of the storm damage from high tides. Presumably we're going to see more and more of these events as the century goes on through climate change. What policies, if any, would you support in Congress to reduce America's carbon footprint?
Well, energy independence is huge. I mean, it's going to impact Americans, you know, up and down the board, regardless of, you know, what sector you're in, regardless of your political affiliation. Environmental policy benefits everybody. I think where it becomes polarized and where it becomes political is when you start to have these alarmists and when people are starting to package environmental type of issues with other broader issues to get things pushed through. So, you know, we see it here in the Granite State. I mean, for example, I'm in the facility management business. We do a lot of you know, snow and ice management. Hasn't snowed in the last couple of years. I mean, that's impacting landscaping businesses. The proliferation of salt and how we treat you know, snow and ice. That's having an impact on our riverways, and the New Hampshire DOT is actually taking the lead in a study that showed that our waterways are becoming, the salinity levels are going up. So these are important issues that we need to address, and the politics should be taken out of it. And we look at the actual facts that are driving some of this stuff. I think everybody can look, to your point about the flooding, you know, on the seacoast, the warmer weather that we're having. It's something that should be looked at, but I don't like the knee-jerk. I don't like the let's just stop drilling for oil and gas, let's pivot. We're not ready for some of these massive overhauls. I think it needs to be incremental over like a 5-10 year period.
You served in the Army, you have a son who's serving in the Navy, so you know what it means to put something on the line for this country. How concerned are you about the idea that America could end up in a conflict with China sometime this century?
Very concerned. I mean, China plays the long game. In fact, the Mandarin symbol for the country of China literally translates to Middle Kingdom. So they see themselves as the center of the universe. They're about a year away from completing a $1 trillion program called the Belt and Road Initiative, which will secure about 60% of the world's shipping ports. 10 years ago, they had an incredibly large army. It was larger than our military, but they didn't have a means to project that force. Now they do. The submarine gap between us and China, the missile gap, they have more hypersonic missiles. So, and again, they have aspirations of being that sole global superpower, and so does Russia. So this is something we should absolutely be looking at. And in fact, when I was at West Point, I studied Chinese. I spent a summer over in Beijing working in the U.S. Embassy. I'm intimately familiar with the way that the Chinese government sees themselves on a global stage, how they see the United States on that stage, and what their aspirations are. And I don't think that they should be trusted. It scares me that they have a controlling interest in now a significant portion of this country's farms. Everything from technology to shipping. I mean, they're everywhere, and they would like to unseat the United States. So not that I'm advocating for a Cold War or any type of let's not ramp this up, but we should be very smart and intentional with how we look at China and how we deal with that and how we craft foreign policy.
One quick question for you here before we wrap up. It's likely a Ukraine aid package will pass this weekend in Congress. Speaker Mike Johnson could pay a big political price for that. If Republicans try to depose him for this, what's your opinion of that?
So I look at this from a macro perspective. I'm like, okay, we have the opportunity to check Putin and degrade his military capability and kind of secure, Western Europe, demonstrate global strength, show our allies that we've got their back, all while without spilling American blood. What's the problem? And about 80 to 85% of this aid is actually being spent here in the United States to produce stuff to help them. So I'm for supporting Ukraine. I think it sends a strong message when we don't and it weakens us on the global stage.
All right, Chris Bright, thanks for joining us on
Thanks
Close
for
Up.
having me,
We
Adam.
appreciate the time.